Is so ashamed and hating itself. Did everyone forget that people died to pay for this? Ungratefulness, United States gave everything to you just to help. I just want to celebrate Thanksgiving with my family. I don't need your help to understand it was a tragedy. Can I just be thankful for my country eating happily without you trying to guilt me for the genocide and casualties? I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't black or white, it's conflict designed by the system. I don't need your pronouns, all I see is men and women. Kids are taking pills for fun while people can't afford prescriptions. If you don't like it, go. Hate it, then don't call it home. We don't need no violence, got no time for all you radicals. Screw your status quo, we're not animals. I won't kneel for the anthem, cause the flag is what I'm standing for. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you bag your bags. America, you can hate the government and still love the country. The fundamental values of America are concrete. Republicans and liberals are dumb, to put it bluntly. They're labels that they use to create chaos and corruption. You can know the history and still be proud of where you're from. Every flag around the world is covered in a little blood. We started out United States divided is what we've become. If home is where the heart is, you should show America some love.
So guys, there's already a version of this video up on Rumble and on Patreon right now that was absolutely just, it was graped by the copyright system. SNL doesn't want me to make fun of them, so they nuked me. What else? A band that I used in the other video and a song. They make really cool music videos. They make cool music. It's a little bit different. It's a little alternative, but I like it. I was just trying to give them some air. Just like, not like my 60 subscribers. I'm giving people air on my channel, but I wanted to use it. I thought it was nice. I like music. I'm incorporating music, comedy, memes, all types of stuff into these political, cultural videos. Hopefully you guys like that stuff. Let me know if you absolutely hate it, if you like it. I don't know if you like a little bit of music mixed in here and there. You like, a little bit of comedy mixed in here and there. Let me know. If you'd rather me just talk and give you facts, I'll do that. Either way, I'm going to listen to all of you, which means I'm going to be doing a little bit of everything. So ultimately, in this video, we're going to check out a Russell Brand video where he absolutely, like, I just got done doing my other RFK video, and now everyone's talking about how they're attacking RFK. I already put the video out, man. I was first. I'm the first one. I'm the news. Nobody else is the news. I'm the news. I'm obviously joking. So my previous RFK video, you can check that out. And then this video talks a little bit more about the government and the COVID people that were a part of our government, that as soon as it's not advantageous to be a part of the government anymore, all of a sudden they leave their government job, and where do you think they go and get jobs at? Where do you think they go sit on board of directors at? What companies do you think they become CEOs of? The people that ran our government during COVID and told us what we had to do, what the mandates were, what we're not allowed to do, what we're allowed to do. Are you allowed to be in society today? Do you have your shots? And just so you all know, I am completely unvaccinated, other than whenever I was a kid, obviously, all the normal vaccinations. No one in my household received the COVID vaccine. The mortality rate was silly. That's why we didn't have it. And please don't get scared and run away from all the hardcore metal. I will be small doses, but you need it in your life. You need to have a little bit of it in your life. Especially whenever I'm doing these videos and I gotta, like, what's it called again?
They call it a breakdown. RFK Jr. Now, if you're not familiar with him, it's probably because he ran for president and nobody cared.
There was a time when late night TV could be relied upon to bring entertainment and joy, a kind of ferocious vivacity and excitement about American cultural life. But some time ago, I reckon it was around 2016, late night entertainment itself became a kind of propaganda. Maybe it always has been, maybe it was diffuse and homogenized in ways that made it difficult to discern and read. Maybe that's the function of a culture, to somehow mold and control you. Great big vast questions that unfold across millennia. But what's certain now is that the late night world has become part of the propaganda machinery, and even respected comedians like Stephen Colbert can be seen frequently advocating for ideas that might not be beneficial to their audience, and certainly suggest that they're only talking to one particular group. And that might not have been something that I myself would have been alert to until he began to attack Bobby Kennedy quite vociferously and frequently. Now, have a look at this speech of Stephen Colbert's, where he sort of talks about Bobby Kennedy, who's now, or from January, will be in charge of branches of government that means he'll be able to significantly impact the health of Americans by controlling the excesses and deception of big food and big pharma. Let me know in the comments and chat if you think this is exactly the kind of reckoning that was required. Do you, not like me, have the image of America being turned into a vast carousel of unhealthy children dropped like larvae onto a conveyor belt so they can live their life eating processed seed oils and sugars, making them sick and unwell so that they can eventually be medicated for diabetes and heart disease, so that they can be blobbed up on Ozempic their entire lives? So when you're ridiculing someone like Bobby Kennedy, who's, an eccentric guy, an eccentric isn't a pejorative term. That means unusual. And the embrace of unusual or brilliant, excellent, and advanced people used to be part of what American life was about. So have a look at Stephen Colbert's framing of Bobby Kennedy as an individual, neglecting to talk about the crisis in American health, the crisis in big pharma that needs to be addressed, the corruption in both of those industries, and the possibility of the state backed by and populated by the right political figures to oppose the kind of corruption that's been making America sick, and the possibility that now we could be making America healthy again. Let me know in the comments and chat what it tells you when Stephen Colbert attacks Bobby Kennedy in this way. Whose side is he on? What causes is he advocating for? We're going to look first of all at Stephen Colbert's speech. Then we're going to look at some facts about American nutrition and American corporate life, and how America may have been being poisoned for getting on for 50 years in order to create business opportunities. We have the examples now of the tobacco industry. We have numerous examples we can look at, in particular from the pandemic period, of how advocating for certain ideas might be beneficial to corporations and detrimental to ordinary Americans. It's just surprising when you see that done in the name of entertainment. Here's Stephen Colbert's speech where he's attacking Bobby Kennedy, and then we'll provide some analysis that shows you who this message benefits and who it harms.
He has no plan to replace it. He said, concepts of a plan. Have you all watched the debate?
Oh damn, my bust. That was the wrong clip. My bad. Hold on. Here's the next clip. My bad.
We still don't know the entire parade of clowns, degenerates, and in-laws that Trump will have running this country, but one guy we know will have a major role is RFK Jr. Now, if you're not familiar with him, it's probably because he ran for president and nobody cared. But
Okay, so we're going in with a derisory stance, a pejorative position, and a general sense of attack when it comes to Bobby Kennedy. Now, a little while ago, Bobby Kennedy would have been adored because he took on companies like, I think, Monsanto, and sort of advocated on behalf of rivers. If you care about the environment, if you're like a liberal person who cares about the values of environmentalism and civil rights and social justice, Bobby Kennedy could be a hero. But notice what they want to portray Kennedy as is a whack job and a crackpot and a weirdo, because it's not so easily available. What's not available are the tropes that you would use to attack Trump. Oh, he's a misogynist, he's a racist, he's a sexist. So it helps me to understand that as long as you are not part of the central authoritarian system, they will find a way to attack you. Trump, that's the way we attack him. Kennedy, that's the way we attack him. Joe Rogan, that's the way we attack him. Do you see? They'll find a way to attack you if your message is antithetical to this set of authoritarian interests that are becoming more apparent now, simply because, well, it looks like we're going to have more access to free speech.
The more the free speech we have, the better the society will be. The better the ideas get, the more innovations we have, the more inventions we have, the more just overall, it's where the mind flourishes. When you're able to openly speak your mind and have somebody over in a corner and be like, "What? What'd you just say? That's dumb as shit. That won't work. I guarantee that won't work." And then that person who said the outlandish thing, they may actually go to work to try to make that thing happen that he was told was impossible and actually pull that shit off. That's that's the way of doing things, and maybe he doesn't pull it off, maybe he does a terrible job and that shit does not work, but hey, at least he tried, at least he was willing to give it a shot and have some sort of thought or dream or idea in his head. He was able to try to create it to some degree. Now, if there was no free speech, he wouldn't even be able to say what he thought out loud to begin with, to even be ridiculed, to get the motivation to go try to prove somebody wrong. If we're not going to speak to each other and we're not going to have conversations and tell each other what we can and what we can't do based on just opinions and just, yeah, I don't think that'll work. How are we going to push each other to create better things, create things that work better than anything we've ever had before? It doesn't really make any sense. All right, let me get back into it.
We're familiar with him because he's done a whole mess of crazy stuff, including, but not limited to, admitting to dumping a dead bear in Central Park as a prank, living with an emu who would regularly attack his wife, owning 2 ravens who meditate with him every morning, bragging about his freezer full of roadkill.
Whilst that's very trivial information, what's brilliant about this is it's a lens into how legacy media works. It highlights information that could be beneficial. It metastasizes, makes negative information that in a different context you could regard almost as amusing or in fact heartening, like a guy that sort of meditates with ravens. Like, wow, that's interesting, that's fascinating. Like, do you notice what the function is of the media? To toxify your impression of a particular individual.
And beheading a whale, then strapping it to the roof of his minivan for a 5-hour drive home. Now, that sounds deranged, but he actually has a good reason for all of this. A worm got into his brain and ate a portion of it and then died. So, naturally.
Who is this for? What is the function of this monologue?
This whale decapitating, bear dumping, walking, talking worm cemetery is who Donald Trump wants to put in charge of our nation's health.
You see, Mr. Colbert, all this is this is only to discredit all of Donald Trump's picks. That's all this is. RFK is clearly extremely passionate about this type of thing. He's in really great shape. Yeah, he had a brain worm, dude. I don't know what you want me to say about it. You're making fun of him. I mean, talk about some ableist, you know, commentary from you, you disgusting bigot. The man had a medical emergency and it could have did some serious damage to him, and they caught it in time and was able to save his life and was able to help him. How dare you make fun of him for that? This is absolutely ridiculous. He's an extremely smart man. He's smarter than most of you and all the people that you have on coming on to talk to on your show. He has pretty good ideas, and I'd like to hear what he has to say. But you don't even want to give him a chance because of some weird headline grabbing things. Like it just you guys are done. This stuff is done. I missed an opportunity. There was a couple videos really with RFK talking about the whole brainworm situation and everything that goes along with it. But it's really it's honestly it's irrelevant. It doesn't even matter. You guys are so far off the mark. It's insane. I actually need a little bit of a palate cleanser, to be honest with you. Like, but no, you know what? Before I do a palate cleanser, like look at this on SNL. This is what you do. Now, just like I was saying, you want to make fun of a man's medical condition? Like this is on SNL, making fun of his brain worms. Like this, like, dude, like I laugh about it because I am an actual piece of trash. Like, I will laugh at old ladies falling down steps and bones sticking out their skin. Dude, there's something wrong with me. You're gonna learn that if you continue to watch my videos. But it's still when it comes to stuff like this, and it has such it's so consequential when it comes to the national stage and with the federal elections and the things that you're doing and using these platforms for these things. It really is it's pretty bad. But yeah, this SNL right after this SNL thing, I'm gonna cut hard straight into something as a palate cleanser, and I hope you enjoy it. It's a little bit different than what the music I normally listen to, but you might get down with it. Let's check it out. Saturday Night Live is so trash. They have to block everything that they do and not let me show anything. So basically, in this thing, they make fun of a brain worm that RFK had that ate a portion of his brain and died, which is consequential in no way, shape, or form of his intelligence and what he does and how he helps the country with health or anything like that. It was completely cringe. And I just made fun of it. I mean, look at the man and then look at all these pieces of shit on Saturday Night Live. But yeah, we should take advice from these lunatics dressing up like worms to make fun of a medical condition, but then they'll clutch their pearls if Trump makes a gesture about a guy being confused about a question he's going to ask, that means he's an ableist and making fun of people that have, physical disabilities. But Saturday Night Live can do it and then block it so I can't talk about it either. So yeah, just normal trash censorship. Yeah, while all these politicians are getting rich, all these senators and congress people getting lobbied by all the different food and drug companies, and you'll be watching CNN during their COVID coverage and it'll be like, "We'll be right back after a quick commercial break." And again with another SNL clip, this is just a clip of them making fun about how COVID wasn't serious at all. And if you wanted a time off of work and you just wanted to have a couple days off, with no questions asked, no guilt trip, no nothing, avoid your family, don't cook dinner, don't do anything for your kids, don't do anything, leave your husband to deal with everything. All you have to do is have a false positive COVID test, and bang, you got a little mini vacation because there was nothing to be afraid of. These were just little mini vacations. And then the government just printing, billions of dollars to drive inflation through the roof, put us all into debt, and then have us have to work and be slaves for the rest of our lives. I mean, it's no big deal. It's just a joke, right? SNL is just joking. COVID, just make it up. Just make up that you were sick and like just things were weird for a couple of days, and then you don't got to go to work and you get paid for it. I mean, it's just, at the time it was serious. You're killing Nana, you're killing Nani, but don't worry about it. Just get a couple days off of work and ignore your family because you'll pretend you have it because the symptoms weren't even bad enough to even know that you were even sick. So I had to go back into here, delete my uploaded video, and then come in here and just remove all the SNL stuff that's on here. So this is another clip that is censored that you're not allowed to see. And it really was just them saying COVID is not serious. Them joking about it and saying, "Oh, it's so easy. Just get it to F work. Just say here, we'll even mail you COVID tests that are already positive so you can have a day off of work." Like, just making fun of it like they didn't absolutely ruin lives, suicides, everything over this shit. They're disgusting. That last segment brought to you by Pfizer. That last segment brought to you by Moderna. I mean, how do regular people watch that, see that, deal with that, and like I don't know how you square that in your brain that you're taking advice on vaccines from people who are sponsored directly from the people that make the vaccines. Like they'll literally have a segment. I'll find a segment where it's gonna be like, listen, guys, if you don't get a vaccine, I mean, you're just an idiot. You've got to get this vaccine. This vaccine is so important. It's going to save your life. Okay, we'll be right back after a quick break. Hey, or do you think you have COVID? Do you have a little sniffle? How about Pfizer? Think about Moderna. How about Johnson and Johnson? And then it comes back to the commercial break. Hey guys, I think maybe we should think about these vaccines. Do you think we should have an open discussion? Do you think maybe we should, have an open debate and talk about the pros and cons of whether or not it's good to have the vaccine and be honest about it? Or, "Nah, we'll take the money." You know what? You make fun of RFK and you're trying to make jokes and make use your ableist tone and use his health issues against him. To be honest, that is one of the most frustrating parts about arguing with the leftist is them using every single one of their tactics they use as a sword and a shield at the same time. They'll every single ism and ist thing that they can throw at you, they're gonna throw at you. But then the weirdest thing is they'll use the same tactics that they would call us racist or homophobic or whatever it is. They'll use the same tactics against us that would give us labels and give us derogatory labels. They'll use those examples and run with it perfectly fine. And then whenever you say that they're racist for saying that, they make that face like they just like someone just stuffed a little tiny baby turd into just smear. They basically used a little like a little baby pooped a little tiny poop nugget, and then you took that little nugget and you used it on their lips like lipstick, and you just like smeared it on just a little bit, real nice and slow. It's like that's the. Do you ever notice that? That's the face they make whenever you're just like, that's racist when they know they're being racist, and then it's just like you're just like smearing a little poop lipstick on their face. I really, I don't know. Anyway, so RFK, dude's a fighter. He has sued big food companies to get poisons out of stuff. He's so passionate about all this stuff, but that's provocative to pick him is provocative, but Dr. Rachel Levine, a transgender lunatic who wants to find orphans that don't have families that can say no to sex change operations and just push forward with that. Look, I'm not a crazy person. I'm not like, oh, she's out there rifling through, dumpsters and alleyways looking for prom night dumpster babies so she can hurry up and, change its sex real quick. I would hope that that's not what she's doing. And I'm sure there's some people out there like, that is what she's doing. She is doing that. She's going after the babies and stealing them and then changing their. Listen, I'm just saying that she's an opportunist. If she can do it, she will. She advocates for it. She's down with it. That's not provocative at all. But RFK saying, hey, maybe there shouldn't be 47 ingredients in freaking Fruit Loops. That's provocative. That's crazy. I can't believe it. But another point, do you guys like the music that I mix in? I'm a little weird. I like all different types of music. I'm gonna keep doing it whether you like it or not. I'm just curious whether you like it or not. I think it might be time for another little interlude. We'll see. I don't know. Just this RFK shit got me so mad. I'm glad I launched a video when I did because dude, they were coming after him so hard right now, and it's just like it doesn't even make any sense, man. They're so confusing. I think they confuse themselves. I think.
Notice how it works. Smear the opponent, ridicule them, and distract you from a really important idea. Do you think that big food and big pharma might have a bit too much control over the food that ordinary Americans eat and the way that ordinary Americans treat health? Oughtn't metabolic health be brought to the forefront? Oughtn't more of us be outside, exercising, eating well? Oughtn't your government be advocating for that? Like, amidst all that crazy litany of stories, and I admit they do sound kind of crazy, the brain worm and the cutting off a whale's head or a bear in a park. What it tells you is that Bobby Kennedy's an outdoor guy that probably goes hunting and is connected to nature. Things that probably if more of us did, and you know me, I'm not advocating for hunting or nothing like that, but if you hunt, that's up to you. It's not my business. It's not my job to tell you what to do and what not to do. It's my job to tell you not to trust people who act like they're there to help you when in fact they're facilitating the government's control of you. And that's precisely what's happening there, because he's not talking about, but we will be in a second, the number of people that work at the FDA that have a relationship with Pfizer, the number of people that worked at Moderna, both vaccine manufacturers, that took up roles in government, or vice versa, because it's all a giddy little carousel. And in fact, those are the kind of relationships we should be reporting about, joking about, commenting on, because that's the stuff that's going to affect your life. It's not going to affect you if, hey, imagine Bobby Kennedy is a bit eccentric. If he's a bit eccentric and he's willing to take on massive corporations, that's going to be good for your children. If he's like, you know, not an eccentric person, like the kind of bureaucrats that are going to try and be making into heroes for the last 20 years, these sort of dullards and people that are semi-celebrities, those people just do what they're told. And if they do what they're told, your kids end up eating bad food and taking bad medicine. Well, possibly that's being disrupted now.
Here he is last week.
Robert F. Kennedy cares more about human beings and health and the environment than anybody. I'm going to let him go wild on health. I'm going to let him go wild on the food. I'm going to let him go wild on medicines.
Oh, good. Because that's exactly how I like my medicine. Wild. It's just like the directions on the pill bottle say.
Gargle my ball sack.
Oh, let me decide here. A man who sues major food companies that poison the hell out of us, risk everything, risk his career, risk his life to go against Monsanto and those other companies that will just absolutely disappear you, allegedly. A man that will risk it all to go against the status quo to try to fight for what's best and fight for the health of all Americans. Or people that take bags of money to say things that they don't believe, that they're paid to say, and then as soon as their time is up on the news, they immediately take jobs in the companies they just got done telling you are so great and they're for your health. It's actually disgusting, and he's about to show it to you, so you got to pay real close attention. But these people, you can't just be like that. Yeah, I'm all for money. I'm all for making some money, but I'm not going to sell my soul for it. If the Biden administration, if I had, obviously I don't have a following. If I had some, 10 million subscribers or something, some following, and the Biden administration, Harris administration called me and said, hey, we're going to offer you, $1 million to do some hit pieces, I would not do it. I could not do it. Or, actually, I take that back. I would do it, but I would do it in the most 4D chess way possible that it just, the ads would, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But some people are born to take a bag of money and they just go along with life, the path of least resistance. And some people are just born to fight everything. They're born to fight everything, no matter what it is. Even if they're wrong, they don't care. They enjoy the fight. There's something about it. Like I said, something Alex Jones says that really, really hits home for me. Alex Jones, he was born to fight. Some people are just born to fight.
Listen,
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Some people are just born to fight, I think. It's not that they're born brave. It's not that they're born strong. It's just that the universe has decided that this one will have grit and fire and steel in their blood. And it'll be tested, this cosmic metal of theirs. They'll face trial after trial, be broken and damaged in countless ways. But this one was born to fight. Maybe it's not the life they would have chosen. Maybe they'd love to lay down their arms. But they were born to fight.
happened since that pandemic era, the rise of heart disease. Let me know in the comments and chat how many people you know that have had heart problems since then. You think, they shouldn't have had a heart problem. The number of people that have developed weird neurological conditions, the rise of the turbo cancer. Where's Albert Bourla now? Where's Fauci now? Where are all of these advocates now? They are masked behind that veneer of glistening propaganda that passes as entertainment every single night, because we've all allowed ourselves to become docile and accept that late night talk show hosts, many of whom I, kind of like in a way, like, I like them as entertainers or whatever, because they are advocating for propaganda, centrist control, ridiculing a person that's pretty brave and pretty bold and pretty up for taking on corporations, which is exactly what you need. They're advocating for not for your slaughter, but for the slow degeneration and kind of decay of America into a country of near perpetual incarceration, a living penitentiary where you eat bad food and take bad medicine, and all the while we laugh along in chilled studios with chilled hosts.
And RFK Jr. is ready for his wilding. Here he is yesterday talking about food deregulation.
Why do we have Fruit Loops in this country that have 18 or 19 ingredients, and you go to Canada and it's got 2 or 3?
Do you know, right, that actually, I let my kids eat that kind of stuff, but don't you, it's not good for them. You know that if we had a better run country with more regenerative farming, with more localized food resourcing, with more awareness of nutrition, where food stamps weren't spent on Coca-Cola, you know that everything could be done so beautifully and so much better. There's no optimism about it. There's no appetite for it, because I reckon probably, Kellogg's and Kraft spend significant money advertising on those networks, so the jokes that are about Kellogg's and Kraft don't make it through. Instead, Crowder goes out there to bat on behalf of big food. Do you know that it's not good for your kids to eat seed oils and processed sugars? You know that you want your kids to be healthier. You know that these kind of nexus of lobbying interests and media propaganda and donations are all amounting to us, the population of countries like mine and countries like yours, not being regarded as civilians, but regarded as subjects, not being regarded as awakened wonders, but being regarded as a kind of resource. This is so significant because it's passing as entertainment. Ha 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 ha. Isn't Bobby Kennedy ridiculous? Isn't it ludicrous? It's telling you not to take that guy seriously, but it's also telling you not to take the subject of your children's health seriously. That's why it's so dangerous and toxic, because it's being passed off as entertainment.
Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the room.
Well, no fucking shit.
My brain, but I went to the Kellogg's Canada website, and it turns out the Canadian Fruit Loops actually have
So that's okay then.
26 ingredients.
That's the joke, that we're at the amount of ingredients in Canadian Fruit Loops. That's the joke. Not, hey, does big food have a stranglehold over American lives? Do big pharma need to face a reckoning for what went on during the pandemic? Is free speech being controlled? Why are people voting for this guy Trump that we're all saying is a Nazi night after night? Have we completely lost touch?
It's typical left-wing propaganda type shit. RFK uses, unfortunately, unfortunately he misspoke and used an example that didn't exactly hit home the points that he normally makes whenever it comes to chemicals and additives that are allowed to be in the food in the United States that are disallowed in just as close as Canada. There are lists of them, okay? Now, unfortunately, that left it open for Colbert. Do you see how the left argues, though? Just because he gave not the best example in the world, it discredits everything then RFK is totally a quack job, and there's no way that anything he says holds any water. There isn't anything there isn't anything in Canada that's banned that we use here in America. Not at all. Nothing. Oh yeah, we have the same exact food standards here in America that we do in Canada. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Colbert? Is that because that's what he does? He's disingenuous. You know why? It's because of all the money. It's because of all the money, all the ads they spend. You think when Pfizer spends $3 million, or I'm sorry, not 3 million, whenever they spend $3 billion in a year for advertising, do you think Stephen Colbert is going to be allowed to give any sort of even an inkling that Pfizer, Moderna, any of these big pharmaceutical companies have anything wrong with them at all, have any sort of shady practices, have any sort of side effects that could be detrimental other than the ones that they're forced to mention very fine print on the back of the label. The now this is where he's really gonna break it down and show where all of our COVID response people went. All the COVID response people that were telling you what's best for you, because they're on the news. They're an authoritative source on the news. Same as Stephen Colbert. Yeah, he's an entertainer, but that ad money and the money that Pfizer and Moderna and all those other companies spend billions and billions of dollars, yeah, it might not be to Stephen Colbert, but it goes to Stephen Colbert's bosses. So what do you think Stephen Colbert then has to do based on the billions of dollars that are coming in? And then whenever the grift runs out, COVID goes away, and they can get out and they're leaving the government positions, their little lofty government bureaucratic positions they have that they weren't elected for, they were selected for. Where do you think they go afterwards? Where do you think they go? Do you think they go to start fighting for Americans and fighting for our food safety and our advocates and activists to try to help us get healthy, the people that have been trying to tell us what's healthy and what's not this entire time? Or maybe someone like RFK that's been suing these companies and suing these big gigantic conglomerates that work together and have synergy with the media companies and all that. Or, I guess we're just dumb. We're just regular working class people that are just too stupid. We didn't go to college, so we're not educated. We can't figure it out.
Let's have a look at some hard facts. You might have seen this over the course of the weekend. We were checking it out. Okay, between 2006 and 2019, out of 10 FDA commissioners, 9 out of 10 FDA commissioners went on to work for the pharmaceutical companies they were in charge of regulating. 9 out of 10 FDA commissioners. There's a good subject for a joke. That's a good say. Like, rather than the ingredients in Fruit Loops, let's look at this. Approximately 65% of the FDA's drug review budget comes directly from the pharmaceutical industry. Americans are the sickest people on the planet, and our health agencies are blatantly compromised. RFK Jr. and the Maha movement will benefit Republicans, Democrats, independents, and all people on the planet. Look at that list of various FDA employees that went on to work at either Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna, Pfizer. Look at Anthony Fauci at the bottom of it. The people they tell you are heroes, in the case of Anthony Fauci, do you remember that guy? So he was some sort of bureaucrat. Elvis, is it okay to find him sexy? Look at him. Have you seen Anthony Fauci interviewed on MSNBC? And look at the ridicule of a figure like RFK. Let me know in the comments and chat, who do you think is more beneficial to America and Americans, Anthony Fauci or Bobby Kennedy? Let me know. Right, now let's have a look at this. Here's some further facts about big food and big commercials. These are the kind of things that late night entertainment talk show hosts should be drawing our attention to. Think about it for a while. For a long time, your country, that in a sense is the birthplace of stand-up comedy, created comedians that took on these subjects and then took them on in mainstream media. There are still comedians like it around, like Chappelle, I guess, being one, and Rogan, I suppose. Let's have a look at this. Big agriculture spends more money on lobbying in Washington than the defense industry. Agribusiness interests have spent over $500 million lobbying Congress over the past 5 years. Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and 27 other companies spend close to $40 million a year in an effort to make their voices heard by lawmakers and regulators. How do you think that kind of influence impacts America and trickles down? Lobbyists routinely transition from Congress, the Federal Trade Commission, and the FDA or the USDA to work on the behalf of a company or trade group. Influential groups that help shape U.S. food policy and steer consumers towards nutritional products have financial ties to the world's largest processed food companies. The shift away from fresh whole foods like fruit and vegetables towards high calorific diets that feature heavily processed and extensively marketed food products has contributed to obesity rates that have reached historic highs. About 678,000 Americans die each year from chronic food illness. That toll is higher than all our combat deaths in every war in American history combined. What can we glean from those facts and the approach of Stephen Colbert in that bit? I'm not trying to morally assess Stephen Colbert, but the reason that bit made me so angry is because the entertainment industry is supposed to love you. It's supposed to be the feeling of love coming out. That's what entertainment is. It's difficult to laugh at people if you don't think they love you and you don't love them. Well, if that food's killing you, what can you discern from that approach when someone like Bobby Kennedy, who is willing to take on those interests, is ridiculed and you're told not to take him seriously? He's got a brainworm, he killed a whale or whatever. Things that are admittedly kind of crazy sounding. Well, it makes me feel like America hates its subjects. Not all of America, of course not, but an aspect of the American entertainment industry. And it sort of disturbs me, obviously, because I've been part of it. Over 45% of US deaths from heart disease, stroke, or diabetes are linked to diet. 2/3 of severe COVID cases resulting in hospitalization were attributed to 4 diet-caused diseases: obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and heart failure. In other words, these hospitalizations could have been prevented if the patient didn't have these diseases. The economic cost of nutrition-related chronic diseases has been estimated at $16 trillion over the period from 2011 to 2020. So, what that tells you is something that's being trivialized, like the ascent of a figure like Bobby Kennedy. The fact that that 3% of votes was probably that he would have got as president, as a presidential nominee, has probably been significant in Trump's re-election, tells you that America has changed and that there is a possibility to take on exactly these kind of powers. Big agriculture, big food, big pharma, the legacy media, the institutions that benefit from keeping America the same, keeping poor people of all cultures and colors eating disgusting food and living a life of sickness, obesity, diabetes, and heart conditions, all conditions that came to the forefront during the pandemic period, during which time you were censored if you tried to talk about that stuff. You were ridiculed if you had concerns about taking the medications that the very same interests, Big Pharma and the media, were advocating for, in conjunction with the state, obviously, in that instance. So this is, we can kind of believe this into being. This is an opportunity for real change.
So let me get this right. Millionaire and billionaire companies spending billions and billions of dollars to media companies, paying millionaire and billionaire people to tell me that their products and their medicines and their things and their way of doing things is just absolutely flawless. And if we just let them keep doing what they're doing, they'll make it better eventually. Or go with the guy who has been suing them, going after them for poisoning us, trying to expose all their crimes, expose all their funding and how they lobby our politicians and the media and buy all the influence that they have so their products can be sold so they can make trillions of dollars. I wonder which guy I trust more with the health of the country. And you know what? And that's another thing, and we'll end it on this note, because I know for a fact I ain't the only one. And let me tell you guys, like the video, do the things, do the things. I accidentally said like the video. I didn't mean to do that. You know all the things I need you to do. I got some more videos coming for you. Do the things. Argue with me, yell at me, tell me I'm dog shit. I'll yell at you, complain about music. Just do all the things. Just complain, do everything, get mad. I'll argue with you. It'll be great. I'll give you my phone number. You can call in. We can have a conversation. You think I'm scared to talk to you? You think I won't argue with you off the cuff? Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm not the only one, bro. I can tell you that. But not the only one. I'll see you on the next one.
Am I the only one here tonight, shaking my head and thinking something ain't right? Is it just me? Am I losing my mind? Am I standing on the edge of the end of time? Am I the only one? Tell me I'm not. Who thinks they're taking all the good we got and turn it back? Hell, I'll be damned. I think I'm turning into my old man. Am I the only one willing to bleed or take a bullet for being free? Screaming what the fuck at my TV for telling me, yeah, you're telling me that I'm the only one town near you, watching the threads of old glory come undone. Am I the only one not brainwashed, making my way through the land of the lost, who still gives a shit and worries about his kids as he try to undo all the things he did? Am I the only one who can't take no more screaming? If you don't like it, there's the fucking door. This ain't the freedom we've been fighting for. It was something more. Yeah, it was something more. Am I the only one willing to fight for my love of the red and white and the blue? Burning on the ground, another statue coming down in a town near you, watching the threads of old glory come undone. I'm not the only one. I can't be the only one. Am I the only one who quit singing along every time they play a Springsteen song? Am I the only one sitting here, still holding on, holding back my tears for the ones who paid with the lives they gave? God bless the USA. I'm not the only one willing to fight for my love of the red and white and the blue. Burning on the ground, another statue's coming down in a town near you, watching the threads of old glory come undone. I'm not the only one. I can't